What's up, everybody? Thank you for being here. This podcast is proudly sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of over 25,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help you with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just answer a few questions about your needs and preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone, or video call. You can message with your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. If your therapist isn't the right fit for any reason, you can switch to a new therapist at no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-office therapy, but with a therapist who is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility, and at a more affordable price. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/upandin. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/upandin. You can get there by scanning the QR code on the screen or clicking the link in the description. Thanks again, guys. All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Up and In Show. We are at Cards and Culture on the purple couch. Welcome, my man, David Folse. Thank you so much. You're excited to be here.
I'm excited to be here.
You got a purple and gold Cards and Culture. I fucking love it.
I know.
Sorry for the F-bomb so early in the episode, guys. That was early. That was not good.
The wife said, you know, what can we do? And we tried something. You approved it, so we're good.
I love it. How'd you guys do it? You just went and got a little like decal, pressed it on or something, or?
My wife, Megan, loves making all this stuff. She'll make the mugs and, all that stuff. She loves doing T-shirts too. Nice. And I was like, well, hell yeah, I want in on this. Yeah. So make me some gear.
Shout out Megan. Let's go. I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming in because you live out in Shreveport, correct?
Slide out.
Okay.
I wouldn't be here yet if I was in Shreveport.
I was going to say. I was like, what time did you leave this morning? That's what I thought. I thought you left real early. But we're excited because today's media day for the LSU Baseball Tigers. I got to sit with Dylan Cruz and one of the freshmen, Chase Shore. Does that sound?
Chase Shore's big righty.
Big boy.
Ooh, and his spin rate is.
Is it? All right, that's fun because I want to dive in. That's what we're going to dive into. You're the expert in recruiting and all things LSU baseball. So it's going to be a fun segment for us this year, guys. If you guys have been subscribers, listeners, you know I'm an LSU baseball player, former MLB player, and David's going to join me this year. We're going to do segments about LSU baseball, recruiting, and hopefully develop this into something for Culture Media and Cards and Culture going forward. So thank you so much, first and foremost, for everything that you've done so far for Cards and Culture. I think your articles are absolutely incredible, and I think it's a really cool asset for people in Louisiana and especially Baton Rouge. So
it's the best job in the world because it's not a job.
Yeah, that's what you said, right? It's a hobby, and you get to do it for fun, right?
It's the best.
Yeah, that's
awesome. I get to do what I love.
All right, so talk to me a little bit how you got into this, right? So you said you have I don't want to say a real job, but like you have another profession, right? And that's your full-time gig, but this is something that you're super passionate about. So how did it start and where did it start?
So, I am the opposite of Anthony Renato.
All right, let's dive in on that.
I always wanted to be a baseball player.
Yeah.
And, you could do the little league thing, you can do the junior high thing, but once you get to the high school thing, it's like, okay, they start cutting people. Yeah. So, manager for a baseball team for high school, I was the stat nerd.
Nice.
But all this time, growing up, LSU's always been a huge part of my life.
Yeah.
And my Aunt Vicky would bring me to LSU baseball games in the old box, probably before you were born.
Where'd you grow up? Sorry to interrupt.
Born and raised in Slidell.
Okay, cool.
Then went to LSU.
Nice.
Been to Sulphur, all sorts of different places. Yeah. And just grew up on just grew up at the old box.
Yeah.
I was the guy where if you brought your kids to Alex Box Stadium and they were 5 and 6 years old, you would send them to the playground and they'd go play in the sand and the ants and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
You were locked in.
I was the guy with the paper scorebook, keeping pitch counts, all that kind of stuff, and just locked in on why didn't Skip do this in the 7th inning against Long Beach State, all sorts of different things.
Yeah.
And then got to start doing it for real, covering prep sports throughout the state, and then finally got to start covering LSU baseball. And here we are. It's just, you can't describe it, man. It's just one of those things where you're like, it just gives you this inner peace where you're like, hey, life is pretty damn good because I can do this and love it.
Yeah.
You just, I wish I could describe it for you, but you'd have to like take my heart out so you could see it.
Well, you know what's funny is I feel like I have that here with Cards and Culture. I really do. I feel like every day is something new and exciting, and I feel at peace. Somebody actually asked me last night, I was at LSU for the Build Your Board NIL event, and they asked me, they were like, do you miss baseball or do you like doing this more? And I said, I don't think twice. I think I love this. I know I love this more than I ever loved baseball, and I loved baseball a lot. Like, it was really great to me. And you know what's funny is, to backtrack a little bit, I don't think we were that different. I don't think we were opposites, because when I was 5 years old, I was going to the games and doing scorecards. My dad would take me to the Trenton Thunder AA in New Jersey, and I'd sit there and keep the scorecard. And I just liked, I've always been kind of a bit of a nerd too. Like, growing up, I always collected stuff. I just happened to be tall and good at sports and was like nice to everybody, so people liked me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was easy for me to fit in that way. And that kind of stuff. So it was, I always liked the stat part of things. I think that's what you and I connect on, right? Is, you know, I'm big into sports gambling and statistics and analytics and things like that. I wish I got into it when I was playing ball, though, because I think that's what actually kind of kicked me out of the game, was the analytics of stuff.
It's interesting how the game is transformed, but I still, like, my family is going to freak out when you're like, dude, what were you doing on the purple couch with Anthony Renato? He was the ace of the 2009 national championship team. Like, I hope you realize the biggest impact that you had LSU baseball-wise, because Skip had everything rolling, then it just didn't work out with Smoke, and Maneri had to come and revitalize everything. You helped bring that up. No, and I'm not trying to fanboy over you, but you helped bring the program back. And yes, did the program then go a little stale towards the end with Paul? Yes. I'm just straight up being honest here. And Jay's bringing that program back up, and we're going to get into that when we start talking about the team. But, like,
I get it.
You were on the mound at TD Ameritrade. You know, LeMahieu.
It was still the old Rosenblatt, I think, my year. Or was it called that?
No, you were at the new park.
The new park was after would have been my senior year. Yeah, they moved.
So
into
it was
that
still
new
Rosenblatt
park.
then.
Yeah, it was still Rosenblatt.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I was in, to use an example, I was in the stands when Warren Morris hit the home run in '96.
Oh my God, that's so cool. All right, so this is what's fascinating to me, right? Is I grew up in New Jersey. I think I have that love for the Yankees. If I was sitting on the couch with Derek Jeter, I'd be like, man, this is
how I am right now.
Yes, I'd be like, this is pretty cool, like very surreal in that. So I do think I understand that. Same thing. I think growing up, I loved basketball even more than baseball. So if Jason Kidd was sitting here, or Vince Carter, or Kenyon Martin, I'd be like, dude, this is pretty wild. Like, so I get that. Do you think that LSU baseball has that feeling? Because there's a lot of people, I think, that have that love for LSU baseball. Is it because of the winning tradition? Is it because there's no major league team here? Talk to me, what makes people that, like, have that love for them?
It's Skip. It's the real honest truth. That's where it all started. Because, you know, prior to him being here, you didn't know anything about LSU baseball. I didn't know anything about LSU baseball. All I knew about college baseball was ESPN had the College World Series on tape delay sometimes, you know, when I was like 3 or 4 years old. Right. And so college baseball was starting to take off. Yes, winning helps. Right. If LSU had a good chess team, the LSU chess team would have a good, following. But what he was able to build, the foundation of everybody went to Skip Bertman camp. Yeah. And you grew up 4 or 5 years old, and you idolized these players. And then you became one of those players, and the next generation idolized you. Yeah. And it's a cycle that never ends. That's why the LSU alumni, and you are part of this, are so important to the program because of how many players, when they come here from New Jersey, or Cressy came here, you know, they come here and they don't leave. Oh, yeah. They come to Baton Rouge, and it's like, okay, I'm home. So it's self-sustaining right now. Yeah. You know, that's where the program is, and that's why everybody grew up watching it, and that's why everybody wants LSU baseball to be good, and that's why one of the bad parts about it is LSU's always put with unattainable expectations. Yeah, the expectations, and I talked about this in my column, the expectations for this team this year are never lose a game, don't give up any runs, and average 15, 16 runs a game.
I feel bad for them a little bit because of that. I was talking to a couple of the guys about that last night, and it's just like, but Jay, I love their, like what they're talking about, how Jay's coaching them up and stuff. They're striving to be 70-0, and I love that. You know, like they're going to lose games, it's going to happen, but they're not trying. You know, they're not even acknowledging that. But there is that much stress and pressure on them, I feel, a little bit, you know, in that sense of expectations, but that comes with being LSU, you know. And to go back a little bit, I feel like I'm jealous of that a little bit here in Louisiana, like that kids had this LSU to look up to, because in New Jersey I had the Yankees, right, and the New Jersey Nets, maybe Rutgers, but like no, I love Rutgers, and I love my boys that went to Rutgers. Some of my best friends went there, right? But like, you don't really idolize going there. Actually, in New Jersey, you want to go in the South, right? Like that's what everybody was like, I want to go to warm weather and stuff like that. So I'm jealous of kids that have this like goal to come to LSU.
Right, but you're one of the reasons about that. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Before every game, what did you do after warm-ups were done at the box? What did a majority of the players do before every game?
I mean, I don't know. In what sense?
You go to the foul lines and you're signing autographs.
Oh,
for
yeah,
those
yeah,
little
yeah,
kids.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
You don't know how many of those kids turned into those players. And I will give you the perfect example. Jordan Griffin, 8th grader, who's going to Barb, committed to LSU last night.
Yeah.
He talked about it on Perfect Game's Instagram page. Why was LSU one of the places for you? Why did you want to stay home? He's like, dude, I went to the games. I got to go get autographs from Alex Bregman and all that. The cycle continues itself.
I love that.
And so how many players did Anthony Renato sign autographs for that's the reason they fell in love with LSU baseball, and then that's the reason they sign with LSU baseball and become better, and then it's their job to pass that cycle on.
Yeah.
I just feel old because when I'm asking players, you know, kids who are committing, who their favorite player was at LSU and stuff, and they're like, oh, it's Alex Bregman. See, I grew up on like the Eddie Furnaces, the Lane Mestapes, the Todd Walkers, you know.
You want to hear something funny? And where I feel old is when people come in the door and their kids are like, you know, 6 to 10 or whatever, and they don't know who the hell I am. They don't care who I am or anything. And the dad's like, yeah, I used to watch him at L. I'm like, oh my God, this is your 10-year-old boy? Like, oh my God. He's like, yeah, I used to come to the box when I was in college. I'm like, oh my God, I'm old as shit, dude, already. But I do enjoy that. It's fun. It's fun to hear people come in, and I appreciate it a lot. So it is funny how that cycle goes, though, and everything. And I think 100% you're right, though, about the tradition and everything. I think that's what brought me into LSU, right? I was a New Jersey kid. I didn't know about the tradition. It was the Nick Pontiffs, the Buzzy Haydels, the Chris McGee's, that kind of Mike Hollander that took me under their wing, and was like, this is how we do it at LSU. You know, we're scrapping some old shit that was happening the couple years before, and this is the way it was supposed to be done. We would watch highlight tapes of the 90s teams, you know, and their way that they celebrated, and I was like, they brainwashed me. Like they convinced me, and I bought in, you know, and I was all in, and I was like, I just want to be part of this brotherhood, this winning tradition. And I mean, I was a competitor, so it was like, I was like, these are my guys and everything. Like it was everything I could imagine and wanted out of a college experience too. So
I'd love to know, how does I'm trying to think here, and going back staff-wise, it was Javi who recruited you, right?
No, actually, so Terry Rooney.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
Terry
okay,
Rooney.
So before Javi.
Yep, so it was Maneri's first coaching staff that pretty much recruited me.
So what did he sell you on? Like, I'm doing a recruiting interview right now with Anthony Renato. Like, what did you know about LSU beforehand?
I actually have a great recruiting story. Like, my recruiting story is, to me, I don't know. It's just funny to me. So, kid from New Jersey, get all my calls, you know, on July 1st or whatever. LSU is one of them. Terry Rooney and I talk, and I remember on the first phone call, I'm in the car with my dad, and I get the phone call, and he goes, "Hey, it's Terry Rooney from LSU," and I put the phone down. I look at my dad and I go, "LSU," and he goes, "Louisiana State University, dick," and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, hey coach, how you doing? I literally didn't know what LSU acronym stood for. I'd seen it but again, in New Jersey, we didn't watch the College World Series. We didn't, it was not a thing. It wasn't a culture.
College baseball wasn't on there was no SEC network. College baseball wasn't on every Tuesday on ESPNU.
We didn't even have the phones. Like we didn't, you know, none of that. The only reason I knew the SEC was good and that LSU was a good team to be calling me was in New Jersey. My one pitching coach that I ever had, his name was Keith Dilgard. Him and I are still tight to this day. he went to Mississippi State, and he was like, hey, if you get a chance to go to SEC, that's the best conference in baseball. I'm not just saying that because I went to Mississippi State, but it's the powerhouse. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know. And then we had this kid named Billy Rowell, who was from New Jersey, and he wound up getting drafted 6th overall, but he committed to Alabama. And everybody was like, he's going SEC. And like, that was like the big thing for me. So when I realized that, that's when I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Started talking to him, right? We just shoot the shit, whatever. The way recruiting went, they just kept calling for a couple months, you know, checking in on you. They're getting all their guys together. Anyway, 3 months go by, and then he doesn't call me anymore. So it goes from July to August, September, and now it's the fall of my senior year, and I'm getting ready to commit. Like, this is the time. And I just pushed LSU out because they hadn't called me and stuff, so I'm fine. I got some really other good offers. I got an offer from Alabama. I'm going on a visit. Got an offer from Virginia that I really wanted to go to. And then my #1 school was Vanderbilt, and I saved them for last as my last visit, and they gave me the best scholarship. I really thought I was going to go there.
You were going to go play for the Whistler?
I had 90% scholarship to go there. Like, I was basically going there for free. And
I don't know how you could have gone and played there with the Whistler, dude.
What's a Whistler? What is that? I never played at Vanderbilt, actually, when I was here. Like, we didn't go to Vanderbilt when I was here.
So
they came
anybody
to us.
who knows college baseball knows what I'm talking about when I say this. Go, when you get a chance, Google just Vanderbilt and the Whistler.
Is it a fan?
Yes. It's this insane fan. They have... You never got to play at Vanderbilt. All right. They have this fan who, I don't even know how to describe it. And it's like a freaking jet horn. Oh. And they also have this guy who beats this drum. Like,
yeah, I'm out on that.
Like, oh my.
I wonder if the players like it. They got to get annoyed, huh?
No.
Yeah, they got to hate it. Yeah, they got to hate it.
And so you grow up, like, I still listen to Chris Blair, you know, on LSU. Yeah. I love listening.
And you can hear it in the background?
Oh, yeah. To me, there's nothing better than just sitting in your backyard, chilling. Wife got me a hot tub, by the way, for Christmas. Shout out to the wife.
Megan is killing it, dude.
And get to listen to LSU baseball. That's nirvana, dude.
That's a dream for you. I love that.
I can't believe you were going to end up at Vanderbilt. That's insane.
I wanted to go to Vanderbilt, like because they had David Price and the year before, and I was like, and then they had, I don't know, it was just they were the best team and everything. So I was all in on Vanderbilt. I went to a Catholic high school and had straight A's and all that. So my dad was really harping the education. My mom was big on the education. So I was all in on it. And then Terry Rooney calls me, had all my visits lined up. And the way that I scheduled my visits was I went Virginia for an unofficial. They gave me my offer. Then I scheduled Alabama, went to that. Then I had to keep.
Was Wells still there?
Wells was the coach, yeah. So he was the one that offered me. And then I took a weekend off because it was my niece's christening. And so I didn't travel anywhere. And then I had Vanderbilt, and that was my last one. And I was going to make a decision after Vanderbilt, thinking I was going to commit to Vanderbilt. So Terry Rooney calls me, and he's like, I'm literally sitting in the parking lot getting ready for a fall basketball game at this place close to my high school. And he's like, hey, what's up, big man? How you doing? You know, and I'm like, good, coach. How are you? I hadn't talked to you in 3 months, you know? And he's like, oh, yeah, man, you know how that goes. You know, we're just out here recruiting, grinding, but I'm looking for the next best right-handed pitcher, the big 6'7" guy that can be the front. I'm like, coach, sorry, man, I don't want to be rude and cut you off or anything, but I've narrowed down my last 3 choices, and LSU is not one of them. So, you know, you
told Terry
straight up
LSU was out.
Well, this is why he literally got mad at me. He goes, what? Are you kidding me? The 5-time he's going through his whole thing, like 5-time national champion. You're not going to come here take a visit? That's the most disrespectful thing I've ever heard. And I was like, I don't have any time, like I just can't, like blah, blah, blah. And he goes, well, tell me your schedule, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, my niece has a christening on this weekend, so I can't go, blah, blah, blah. He was like, I'm going to call you back in 2 minutes. If I can get you there Thursday and Friday and out Saturday morning so you can be there Sunday morning. He's like, will you do it? And I was like, can I call my dad? He was like, yeah. So I called my dad, and my dad's like, yeah, it's LSU, bro. Like, we'll go for 2 days. Who cares? Tell him Thursday and Friday. We got to be back Saturday morning. I'm like, and that means that I was skipping the football game. I didn't even go to the football game. So I called Terry back. He schedules the flight. I go on the flight.
So he bullied you into his official visit.
And if you know Terry Rooney, if anybody knows Terry, him and I are still friends to this day. I joke about it. I'm like,
this is wild.
It's unbelievable. And I joke, I'm like, you bullied me into coming to LSU. But he's like, it was the best thing in your life, right? I'm like, absolutely. And so, yeah, I fly down that Thursday night. We get in at like 4 a.m. We go all day on campus Friday. Saturday morning, we're over at the Embassy Suites. We wake up. We're getting ready to go down to breakfast with Maneri. I already have my offer. They offered me the day before or whatever. I look at my dad.
He hadn't offered you at this point.
No, he offered me. Well, he told me that they were going to give me an offer on the visit and everything. So I knew I had an offer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew I had an offer. So that's why I took the visit and everything. So they offered me it on Friday. My nose is running today. Sorry. And so Saturday morning, we're at Embassy Suites, and I wake up and I look at my dad and I'm like, dude, I love it. And he was like, I do too. I was like, I kind of want to commit. And he was like, I was thinking the same thing. And I was like, can we do it? And he was like, let's fucking do it.
Yes.
We shook on it and we hugged and went downstairs and like we were eating and we kind of played it off with Maneri and like we waited till the end and he was like, play it cool, and then tell him right at the end. I was like, all right. So Maneri finishes and he was like, man, so, we're looking forward to hearing from you. And I was like, Coach, real quick before you stop or anything.
Wait a minute, hold on. I got to stop you.
Yeah.
When we're talking about Coach Maneri, you sure it just wasn't like it starts like this? I do a pretty good job.
We've had some good impressions on the couch, so no pressure, no pressure.
It's just a gorgeous day today, Anthony. I'm so excited to be the head coach of the LSU Tigers.
You need a little higher pitch voice, a little higher pitch on that.
Oh, yeah, that's the congestion.
You know who does a good one? Kramer Robertson.
Oh, Jacques does a good one.
Does he?
Jacques Doucet.
There's some good ones out there. There are. That was pretty good, though. That was good.
Every post game always started the same with Paul Maneri. Just a gorgeous day to be the head coach of the LSU Tigers. Yeah.
Well, you guys probably hear a different voice, though, too. You know what I'm saying? Like the media
we
and
heard
stuff like that.
Stories that Paul could rip your head off. Yeah.
I would imagine. Yeah. I'm sure you heard all the spectrum
of Paul. All right, so get back to it. I interrupted. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, yeah, meals ended, and I tell Coach, and he's like, what? And they all get up, we all hug and like celebrate and everything. And then I had to call the Vanderbilt coach and tell him that I wasn't even coming on the visit. He wasn't happy. And then Jim Wells not Jim Wells, the recruiting coordinator hung up the phone on me for Bama when I told him that I was going to LSU because LSU wasn't even in the picture when I went to Bama. They didn't even know I was talking to them, and I wasn't at the time. So
all right, yeah. So we're way past the statute of limitations here.
Yeah.
Did you go to Tigerland?
Nope.
Did you go to Mike Anderson's for dinner?
Yes. Sure did.
And who was your host, players-wise?
Oh, my God. I don't think I had a host because it was because it was Thursday and Friday. I don't think I had a host.
Huh?
I didn't even go, like, Mike Anderson's afterwards. No. Oh, I did. Nolan Kane. How can I forget that?
Wow. Nolan was your host?
Don't tell him I forgot.
Oh, I've got to
don't tell him I forgot. Oh, my God. But... yeah, Nolan was the
pitchers in the history of the world.
He was the best host. He took me over to his apartment after Mike Anderson's. I met Kristen there, and I'll never forget this. Kristen is his wife.
Yes, Kristen. Yeah.
They were saying
one of the best softball catchers ever.
She was awesome. Yep. And just an awesome human being. We were like best friends. I stood in their wedding.
Do you hear me?
I heard that.
She couldn't hit. Sorry, Nolan. But cannon.
I heard she had a cannon.
Yes.
But she had Tommy John too, though. That's crazy. But
we're talking like just cannon.
I heard that. I heard she had a rocket. That's good. Their kid better have a freaking hose. But yeah, so Nolan Kane, he took me over to their apartment over at Oak Brook, and then the next morning. But I didn't go out. I didn't drink in high school. I was very, very straight on everything, and Nolan knew that. So he brought me over there. We just shot the shit a little bit. I think he was probably pumped. Got to drop me off at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, whatever, with my dad. So I didn't even go out to Tigerland, nothing. I swear.
It's crazy.
Didn't go to a football game. I just loved it. I told you. Terry knew this. I wanted to have a good workout facility, so we spent the whole day over at the football ops and everything.
Right, Sabanville was built already by that point.
Yep. And I met the head trainer over there and hung out with him all day, watched them work out, everything. And then I told them, I was like, I want to play in warm weather and I want to play in front of a big crowd. So they showed me all the developments of the new stadium and like how I'm going to be the Friday guy that, like all this shit. And they did a great job. I was like, they checked every box and everything that I needed. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is perfect. I don't need to see anything else. The way I felt here was home. So it was great. Yeah.
Pretty cool, dude.
Yeah, cool recruiting.
I can't believe Terry Rooney bullied you into an official.
Bullied me into LSU.
That's so great.
And now I freaking have businesses and a purple couch, and I'm all in on LSU. And you're wearing stuff purple and gold with my company, so I'm all in. Love LSU.
Love it.
Yeah, so it worked out well. All right, let's dive into some of the recruiting stuff and the things that we're going to be getting into here with LSU. So, #1 team across the board in the country this year.
They're loaded.
Loaded.
And I don't know the best way to describe this. I was on North Louisiana radio interview today, and they asked me, it's the best LSU team on paper since when? And the first thing that came to my mind is the 97 team. That was the Brandon Larson team.
Yeah.
Obviously the bats, different discussion. Everybody, the bats were, weapons
that was
of mass
the time,
destruction.
right?
But
that was the times.
Different. 188 home runs, all that kind of stuff. But the way this team is, they're just loaded. And knock on wood, they stay healthy.
Yeah.
They've got a potential to do a lot of things. They are going to hit the ball. Dylan Cruz is going to have his protection. Tommy Tank's not really his name, but it's Tommy White. But they just, when you hear them when you go to the fall scrimmage and you just close your eyes. Jay told me this. He goes, I want you to just, when Tommy's in the batter's box, in the cage, just close your eyes and listen to the ball.
Yeah.
And you just, it sounds different.
I love that. Let me ask you this. Is there a thing where there's too much talent?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. And you know this. There are players on that. Let's think about the 2009 National Championship team.
Yeah.
What was the turning point of the 2009 National Championship team? When Paul made the switch. You know, when Shemp went to the outfield, Landry came in, LeMahieu, all that kind of stuff. You need those players that are not your number one Anthony Renato first-round picks. You need the scrappy guys that are going to come in and push. You have that. The Ben Napolts of the world, the Josh Pearsons of the world. You know, yes, everyone's going to know about Dylan Cruz. Everyone's going to know about Brady Neal. Everyone's going to know about Jordan Thompson and Tommy Tanks. But, you know, Gavin Guidry at second base, Trey Morgan at first base. Yeah. You've got to have, that's the job. That's why coaches get paid as much as they do.
Right.
They've got to have that mix to where, have my superstars. Yeah. You got to have your superstars, but you got to sprinkle in, you know, the players that are going to challenge them. Almost. And if Tommy Tanks messes up a hamstring and is gone for 2 weekends, who can go in and get the job done just enough until he comes back?
Absolutely. No, 100%. Who's Brady Neal? You said him in the same sentence as like some other big name.
Brady Neal out of IMG Academy in Florida.
Wow,
freshman catcher coming in. Expected to start. I expect Jay Johnson to tell me at Media Day when we go there today that Brady Neal's the starting catcher.
I love it.
You know,
he hits well too?
He hits well. He turned down a lot of money to come here.
Wow.
It's his job. Left-handed power stick. Oh my God. And he is an above average catcher. He's going to get the job done there.
This is the thing which is crazy to me is you just said this about this guy and I had no idea about him at all. And that's the thing is like, he might be a main player.
Site.
Well, I've read them, but it's just like, I forget the names. There's 40 names to remember. Like even Chase Shore, I knew that name. I'm like, when he said it to me last night, I'm like, I know that name. I've read it. I've seen it, but there's 30 of them that I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like names. And for me, the way, even every year for LSU baseball, I'll read the articles, I'll hear the names, but I got to go to the games and you got to see guys play because to me, that's when you start remembering names. Like, oh, that dude impacted the game. That's when I'll remember him. That's when I'm like, oh, that's a guy. You know what I'm saying? So like, no knock on guys before and articles, you know, hyping people up and stuff like that. But it's just the eye test for me is what kind of ingrains in my memory.
And this team 100% passes the eye test. Paul Skeens is like 6'4", the Air Force transfer.
Dude, I thought he was like 6'7", they said.
I think I may be very much underestimating that.
I heard he's like 6'6", 6'7", like, and everybody said he was everything of that.
And like the fun part about that is,
actually, I think I've met. I think he's like 6'6". I think I met him in the clubhouse one day with Dylan when we were doing some stuff.
And the fun part about it is he's a catcher, but he's not going to catch when he's here. And
wait, who? Skeens?
He caught at Air Force.
6'6" guy?
Yes, he caught at Air Force, and he also pitched. The plan initially was he comes in and was going to be the closer and DH.
Yeah.
Well, he gets here. Wes Johnson, the pitching coach, makes a couple tweaks, you know, that kind of stuff. Yeah. And now he's got the best stuff on the team. If, gun to my head, they have a game today, and it's a Friday night SEC game, Skeens is getting the ball in game one.
I love that.
You know?
Well, somebody told me that he was going to be the Friday guy too, so that way he could pitch Friday and then hit Saturday, Sunday too.
Right. He would not. And again, I'm assuming some stuff, and we'll get it confirmed with Jay.
Right.
I don't see him pitching and hitting in the same game.
Yeah. So. Shohei doesn't do that, right?
Shohei does that.
He does. He hits in the same game. I love that. Yeah, no, well, everything that I've heard about him, even from some scouts and stuff, I went to like 2 or 3 fall games. Everybody says that dude is as real as it comes, like as a legit two-way guy. So I'm excited to see him play. He's one of my targets. What about pitchers? Is that what is it? Hatch?
Thatcher Hurd. Thatcher Hurd out of UCLA, and you can talk about this a little bit. The UCLA transfer, you know, it's got Friday night stuff, but it's the back. Will the back hold up? He struggled with that at UCLA, and it's one of those, when healthy, you dealt with this when you were at LSU.
Yeah.
When healthy, Anthony Renato was a badass.
Yeah.
It was just,
is he healthy?
Is he healthy?
Absolutely.
So if Thatcher Hurd can stay healthy, absolutely. He can be, you go Skeens, Hurd, and Christian Little, maybe, or Grant Taylor, maybe. You know, that's
crazy that you have those options on Sunday. Like, you're just named potentially two top 3 rounders, maybe first round, you know, sneak into the first round. That's crazy. And then who else too? There was a number. I mean, how's Blake Money looked at all? Has he?
Blake, this is what I was told. There's not a better pitcher on the team through the first time through the order than Blake Money.
Well, shit, let's find somewhere in the bullpen for him where he could be like, you know what I'm saying? Like, get us 9 outs in the bullpen.
If we want to get picky, the one thing that would concern me is everybody we've just talked about, none of them come from the left side.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the only thing that would make me a little anxious is, again, the lack of depth of left-handed pitching for this team.
But we did bring in, what, 2 or 3, 3 or 4 arms, right? A couple transfers, a couple freshmen, right?
A couple freshmen coming in there. Yeah. But this team is going to hit.
Right.
This team is going to score runs. And I listened to your podcast that you did earlier this week about props and college baseball stuff and all that kind of stuff. I still hit, don't be mad, but I still hit LSU at plus 500.
No, that's...
and I put $1 on Texas A&M. You're welcome, Nolan.
Nolan yeah, give a little love to Nolan.
But I can tell you right now, I made a ton of money this past year on over under on college baseball.
Yes.
Because DraftKings, and we love them, didn't know what to do with over-unders on college baseball games.
I know. I've made so much money on that last year. It was unbelievable.
And it was like you would have on a Sunday conference game, you would have it in like where it was like 8.5.
It was unbelievable. If it was 10 or under, I was taking it every game.
Every single
And there was
time.
a lot of them that were 10 or under. I'm like, what is going on right here? They're going to score 18 runs today.
In the first inning, they may bat around twice.
Dude, that's so funny. I did the same thing.
Connecting that to there, this is an LSU team that's going to score a lot of runs. But the fun part about it is they aren't going to have to outscore people, if that makes any sense.
That makes sense because they're going to have
They can go win a 1-0, 2-0 game. Yeah. And they have a dog. They have a dog now on this team that they can go throw against somebody else's ace. Yep. We all talk about when you go to TD Ameritrade, the wind is flipped around, and it's only teams that can win there are UCLA because they, have the top 3 pitchers and they do all that kind of stuff. LSU has that dog that they can go throw on a Friday night and win you the game.
Yeah, I love that. And that's what I like that too. He's like, you can win on defense, offense, whatever. If they got that arm that's coming in. Well, I meant
defense is a
okay, so that's where we're I was gonna say, what's the hole? The hole. I saw it in your face.
Yeah. The hole is what this team struggled with last year. Okay. And that was fielding the ball, particularly up the middle infield.
Yeah.
I don't like calling out specific players, and I'm not gonna do that. But there's up the middle, this team struggled to field its own position.
Yeah.
And it was too many unearned runs, particularly early in the season. Right. So in the middle infield, you tell me who's going to be there with Ben DePault, Gavin Guidry, Gavin Dugas, and Jordan Thompson. Out of those 4, you're going to have to find a shortstop, and you're going to have to find a second baseman. Right now, I think it's Thompson and Guidry, to be honest with you, with Thompson at short and Guidry at second. But that's a lot to put on a true freshman, to put him in the middle infield and put him right there. He's,
where's he from?
He's from Barb.
Barb, okay.
So they produce, You know why the Little League World Series, anytime a Louisiana team makes it, it's always from Barb?
Yeah.
That's why Barb's good.
Yeah. And they got the Caccinis right there, right? I played with Garen. Yeah, they're great people.
Garen had committed and signed with LSU. And then the Mets just gave him too much money.
Yep. Coach Maneri was not happy with that one. Yeah. All right, so
the most greatest Paul Maneri story. And were you on the team when Von Rosenberg got pulled out of class?
No.
Okay.
That was the year after though.
You came in the next year?
No. Like it was I got drafted. We were both in the same draft, Von Rosenberg and I. So we both left. So he was supposed to come in as a freshman the year, like what would have been my senior year.
I'd love to, that's the truth serum story you'd want to tell Maneri. Because did Von Rosenberg really get pulled out of enrollment of classes
I think he did.
day?
Yeah, I think he really did. Yeah, I really think he did. I talked to, Maneri wasn't happy about that one either. Yeah. I felt really weird because Von Rosenberg was like talking to me about it. I'm trying to get him to come to LSU. I really believe now 1.2 for a kid, but it just depends on what 1.2 is for you, as if
after this, what is 1.2? First off, you take the taxes off,
and
then your agent off, and then the
Yeah, you're walking away with 700, 750, 800, maybe something like that. But still, is that going to last you the rest of your life? Is that life-changing money for you? Do you think you can go and double that at college, you know? So I told him, and he was going to play football at LSU too. I'm like, dude, your college experience is going to be second to none.
He was a dude at Barb. Or excuse me, at Zachary.
Zachary, right?
Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
He was a dude.
I remember everybody saying that, yeah.
So.
I remember that. All right, so let's talk about some of the recruits that we got coming in, because that's your bread and butter, right? So are we the #1 recruiting class next year?
2023. Let's talk about the 2022 class for incoming freshmen.
That's the freshmen now.
The freshmen now. A couple of them will start. Brady Neal behind the plate.
Yep.
Paxton Kling in right field.
Okay.
You know this because you're a North Louisiana. You're a northern guy. He only got to play like 28 games. That includes pre-district, district, playoffs, and championship.
28 was a good season for us.
Right, out of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You know, #8 prospect in the country.
Nice.
Had a perfect game.
Damn.
You know, think Josh Pearson, but right-handed.
Nice, okay.
So he's going to come in and play. Jared Jones. Jared Jones is more your kind of size. 6'3", 6'4", catcher, but the ball just sounds different. You know, he's seen some time at first base, going to see some time in DH, and just hits bombs. Hits the ball very hard, just like Tommy Tanks does.
Wow.
So, and then Ethan Frey, the reigning Louisiana Mr. Baseball out of Rose Pine, he actually won the award over Gavin Guidry. Gavin Guidry got Gatorade Player of the Year.
Wow.
Ethan Frey got Mr. Baseball.
Nice.
So those players coming in. #1 recruiting class in 2022.
Yeah.
#1 recruiting class in 2023.
Wow.
You know, the committed players right now. It's what Josh Jordan is doing is insane. The 2024 class is rated, I think, 3rd right now. You know, but baseball recruiting is so different than any of the other sports. LSU picked up a commitment from a 2027 kid.
Okay, so what is he
That's
an eighth grader?
grader?
Yeah, that's crazy. Is that the kid? Was that the lefty pitcher kid?
Jordan Griffin.
Oh, that's a Jordan. Yeah, okay, yeah.
So
that dude, but his highlight reel was so sick. Like,
but he's in 8th grade.
I know it is. I know. That's so weird.
You know, he's got to go home and watch cartoons.
He's got to be a kid. Like, dude.
Exactly.
But also, he's going to change so much in the next 4 years, too. That's the thing. I mean, hopefully he gets better, right? And that was the tweet that I put out there is like, hopefully he develops and gets better, but you just never know. I don't know. So
here's the one that you'll love the best, though. 2023 kid. His name's, what did you throw? At your best, what did you throw from the right side?
Like
fastball-wise.
Ever? Or like in high school?
Just like, what'd you top out at?
98, 99 was probably my best. Oh, in high school?
In high school.
Oh, in high school, 92. Maybe
92?
Maybe 93. Yeah.
From the right-handed side.
Yeah, from the right side.
All right. Hypothetical here. If I had grabbed a ball right now and gave it to you in your left hand, what could you top out at?
I actually, it's going to be funny. I was actually born a lefty, so I don't know where you're going with this, but I could throw a ball lefty pretty well, actually.
Okay.
I think I could throw like 75 lefty.
Okay. Max Charles, part of the 2023 class.
Ambi?
Yes.
I love it.
Ambidextrous. 92 from the right, 91 from the left.
I love it.
Also a switch hitter.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. We had the stories on Culture Media.
Yeah.
He's the freak in a good way.
We got to, yep, that's so cool.
We're going to get him on this show to talk about it, where he tells the story. And when I talked to him for a good 20 minutes. I was enthralled with it. I asked him, I said, you know, how did this happen? He goes, this is my normal. His dad from Jump Street always just taught him everything. And so that's all he knew. So just some of the stuff
I love that. My dad.
We're going to have some cool stories coming in on this podcast.
I want to talk to that kid about that, because when I was a kid, my dad always made me a switch hitter. I never threw lefty, but I always was better lefty actually hitting. It was just my coaches never really, I wouldn't say better lefty, but I was just as good, and I was more of a contact hitter. So they wanted me to, I hit a lot of home runs when I was righty, so they would want me to keep hitting righty. But I was always having the bat in my hand left hand, and if I struggled righty, I would just bat lefty, and it would get me back on righty and everything. And when I hurt my back, so my last game was in 2017 in Korea. Then I signed with the White Sox, and then I hurt my back, so I didn't play 2018. And when I was rehabbing my back, I wanted to do everything equally. So when I started throwing again, I started throwing with my left hand. And dude, it was crazy how like natural the ball came out of my hand and everything. And like I got up to like about 80 miles an hour on like I did a pocket radar thing, and so I got up to like 80 miles an hour on it. It was pretty wild to like do that experience.
I'd love to have you pick Mac Charles.
That's what I'm saying. I want to talk to him about it.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And so he was been doing it since he was a kid.
Since a kid.
That's so cool. I think that's going to be a thing now more. Like you're going to see that more nowadays.
Well, it's what you don't want, and tell me if you remember this. What you don't want is you don't want to come off as being Todd Marinovich's dad.
Who's that?
Remember the USC quarterback back in the day? His dad, you know, he never had birthday cake.
I was just gonna say that's why.
And it was one of those like when he was in the toddler, he would do the stretching.
I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, what you don't want is that. That's always the nightmare. Because Todd went through a lot of demons, you know, that kind of stuff. Because that's the first thing I thought of because I'm old.
Yeah. You're not that old.
Yeah. Like going back recruiting wise, the 2023 class, LSU has the #1 player in the country, Derek Curiel, the #2 player in the country, Connor Griffin.
Connor Griffin's #2 in the country?
Because he moved up.
Oh, okay.
So, because he was 2024, but he took his classes to where he can move up.
Nice.
1, 2, 4, and 10.
Oh
Cade Arambi, and then the catcher out of Texas, and then Landon Victorian, the pitcher out of Bard.
Wow, that's fun. So we're doing the thing recruiting, and it's fun because like as a former player, you want those bragging rights. You know, you're like, ooh, we got some good people coming in here. The LSU baseball the next couple of years is going to be really fun. So I'm excited. That's really cool.
Am I allowed to say pisses off?
I mean, I said the F word within the first 3 minutes.
Okay.
Joe's been getting on me. He's like, man, don't curse in the first couple minutes.
Here's the part that pisses me off, though. Anytime we do a baseball recruiting story, the first thing that I will always have, if you and I took shots on every time somebody would go, but they're never going to make it on campus, we would die of alcohol 100%. Poisoning.
I know. Everybody says that.
It doesn't mean you don't sign the kids.
100%.
If I can go get a verbal commitment out of Anthony Renato coming out of high school, I'm going to do it because for Alex Bregman, no one knew Alex Bregman was going to mess up his finger and then arrive on campus.
Yeah.
Nobody knew John Zarang was going to give up $1.2 million and arrive on campus. Nobody knew Brady Neal was going to do it. No one knew no one knew that we were going to have the coronavirus pandemic and Dylan Cruz was going to say, you know, to heck with it. I'll get my money down the line. I'm going to go do what I want to do at LSU. Dylan Cruz should have never made it on campus.
Yeah. And you know what? And to me, it's a branding thing. It's marketing almost, right? Like the way I think about it, when I was in high school, my high school class was really good pitching-wise, like in the country. Rick Porcello, Matt Harvey, and Madison Bumgarner were all in my class, and they all committed to
the same school?
They all committed to UNC. But they weren't all in the same high school team.
Oh, okay.
We all did play on the same team at one point, though. It was called the East Coast Pro Showcase. You remember, that?
I did, yeah.
Okay. So we were all on that team together, and we were all in the dorms together. And I'm like, damn, there's some dogs here. I was literally the second to last pitcher to pitch on that team because we had so many good arms and shit. And then all three of those guys committed to UNC, and it made everybody else in the country be like, damn, UNC, like they're the bet, right? Like, and now even nowadays, like, for if they're in an interview or they're talking, where would you have gone to college? UNC, like kids hear that. And it's like when those kids are on, or those people are on TV and they've done such big things in the MLB, them choosing that school or where they would have went to school is a big thing, I think. So that's why I'm like, sign the guys. Who cares? Like, I know it's probably hard logistically on the back end and things like that, right? Trying to figure out scholarships and timing and all that stuff. But I say sign them. And exactly like you said, you don't know who's going to end up on campus. And with NIL now, shit, it seems like everything's sky's the limit.
Here's the correlation I'll do. You don't not ask the hot girl out at the bar because if you ask enough of the hot girls out at the bar, one may say yes.
Yeah. And the worst thing is they say no and you're in the exact same position that you're in. You know what I'm saying right now? So, yeah, let the kid say no or go recruit, pick somewhere else, but go after the kid. That's what I always say. Yeah, for sure.
LSU baseball is strong. Let's go through starting lineup real quick. Yeah. I know that's what they're going to want to know. In left field, it's Pearson, Cruz, Kling from left to right. And then the infield, this is where it gets a little tricky, but it's Tommy White, not Tommy Tanks, but Tommy.
Does he hate that name?
No, he's got a branding thing on it.
Nice. Okay.
Thompson, Guidry, Morgan. Yeah, and another one, let's pop a pin in that balloon. Trey Morgan's not going in the outfield. You're not going to take your best first baseman possibly in the history of the school.
Right.
Sorry, Eddie Furness. and not put him at first base.
Okay, good. No, I just wanted to make sure that.
And then Brady Neal behind the plate.
Yeah. And Friday night, we're thinking maybe Skeens. We don't know.
Right
Skeens.
Now, I would be surprised if Paul Skeens does not get the ball the first.
So Skeens, Hatcher, maybe
Skeens, Hatcher, or Thatcher.
Thatcher. Yeah, sorry. I keep saying Hatcher because his first name is what is it?
It's Thatcher.
Thatcher Hurd. Yeah, right. I keep messing this up.
Skeens, Hurd, Little, Skeens, Hurd, Taylor, Skeens, Hurd, Money.
What do you like out of that?
I like Skeens, Hurd, Little.
I haven't seen him pitch this year in the fall, but
right.
I liked Taylor's stuff too.
Let's remember, Blake Money got the first ball on that Friday night and looked amazing.
I've been in a weird way since Blake's freshman year been a big fan of him. I just think the way his delivery works, his arm action works, the way his ball comes out of his hand. I think he just needs to refine his pitch arsenal and throw strikes more consistently.
I credit the kid for battling. Because that first year he was overweight and he was just a big guy, and it was almost like they just said, "Here, take the ball, throw it hard."
Exactly.
And then he comes back and he looks completely different.
Yeah, he looks the part. Yep.
Like he looks, you're like, "Holy crap! It's Blake. Where did Blake Money come from?"
Yep.
And he pitched well, but you got to figure out his niche.
Yeah,
it may just be one time through the order, and then if I'm okay with 2 1/3 of shutout ball,
100%, or let him start on Sunday. Give me 2 1/3, and let's go to the bullpen. We got 8 other guys that throw 95. Let's go.
Exactly.
And we're gonna hit bombs that day. You know what I'm saying? Against their Sunday guy, I'll take it all day. So yeah, no, I'm the same way. I've always, and I talked to Blake a lot last night. He's come on my podcast and stuff. He's a good kid, and he's very cerebral. So I appreciate that about him. And
greatest little brother name ever. But good.
Unbelievable, right? Cash Money? Are you kidding me? Is he coming here? Is he a baseball player?
I don't know. I'll get an answer though. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, I thought I heard that from somebody, so that would be interesting. That would be cool. All right, well, I'm looking forward to this. This is really fun. Do you want to say anything else on this episode? But
I just encourage everybody to go to not just cardsandculture.com, but the news tab on it. Yeah. Our boy Vito is cranking, like his layouts are so cool, dude. Just it looks so professional and so clean. Yeah. And if you guys have any questions, or if you want me to ask Jay certain questions, he will do it. Like he'll ask the questions or answer the questions that we want. And if there's angles on things you want to know, you just let us know. You can tag me at David Folse, or
let's do that on
tell
Twitter,
Anthony, and then
when we put this episode out on Twitter, we should start that and just try to get some questions going, like engage people to ask questions. Hey, is there anything you like? Exactly what you just said. We'll start a poll. Are there anything, or ask me a question, right, where people can type in and stuff. I think that would be really cool, and I think beneficial for people too.
I just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity because it's fun. I think we're going to do some really cool things, and let's just have fun, dude, because that's what life is. You're supposed to, you're supposed to pay the bills and do stuff, but you're also supposed to enjoy it because we only got one of them.
That's it, baby. No, I appreciate this. I'm really looking forward to this. I think we're going to do it on Mondays, we said, right? Or
I'm thinking like Mondays or Tuesdays. We're going to get done, but it's going to be a weekly thing. Yeah. We're going to preview the upcoming weekend series. We're going to recap, and we're going to get this thing going.
I love it. I'm excited about it, and thank you for your passion. Thank you for everything that you've done for Cards and Culture so far. And like I said, I'm looking forward to this season. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Appreciate you.